I think it's just really cool to get a lot of different women in a room where it's about collaboration, connection, and just really inspiring each other, because it's not easy. And we weren't, like my mentor says, we weren't meant to do business or life alone.
I love that. That's super awesome. All right. Welcome to a new episode of Real Estate First Technology. As you can see, things are a little bit different, and we don't have our co-host, Mr. Dan Gandy, is on vacation, taking the week off, but we are bringing you a special podcast, in-person podcast here in Gilbert, Arizona, and a very special guest who has a very amazing event coming up next Friday. So today we have the one and only...
Welcome to a new episode of Real Estate First Technology, your number one resource to get the inside scoop from top performing real estate professionals. How are they growing their business utilizing technology in today's market? Hear also from top performing coaches that can help and serve you in your real estate business, and also technology providers. Let's go deeper with these technology providers to ask them how they got where they're at today and how maybe their services could better serve your real estate business. A big shout out to Liftoff Agent for sponsoring our podcast. Go ahead and go to liftoffagent.com to learn about their marketing and positioning services to help scale your real estate business. If you haven't already done so, like the episode, subscribe. We want you to comment on YouTube what you learned from the episode and give us a review if you're going to be listening and streaming this podcast. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, and enjoy this week's podcast of Real Estate First Technology.
Raquel, she helps CEOs scale their revenue bigger, and she helps entrepreneurs and individuals scale to 6 to 7 figure plus earnings. So we have the one and only, like I said, Raquel on the show. Let's change the camera angle and get her in the shot. And welcome to Real Estate First Technology, Raquel.
So honored to be here.
Yeah, of course. So go ahead. You can pull that a little closer to you.
Okay.
And so we're doing things a little bit different at Real Estate First Technology, bringing more in-person experiences. And the show's all about you. So let's dive into your humble beginnings. So how long you've been in this industry and serving the real estate industry? And I know that your event that you're doing right now is not industry specific. So you work with various different business owners. So let's take us from the beginning, when you first got into what you're doing.
I always say the beginning.
I know. How far?
All right. So I started in real estate in 1999 in the Bay Area, in Fremont, Union City. So for all the Bay Area people that are listening in, that's where I started my real estate career. I was there for 8 years, and we were the number one. We have the largest market share in Union City. We were on every single Union City back of the bus. So if you knew me back then, we were on every single Union City bus on the back. And we built a team, we built a mortgage company, and then we started investing out of state, and we ended up here in Arizona.
Wow, that's awesome. I know when we first got connected, it was with Connor Murphy, and we were both living in the Bay Area. I was in the Bay Area as well, and then moved out here to Gilbert, Arizona. You're in Scottsdale, right?
I am in Scottsdale. So I took on, left the business, had another team member run the business, and I took on a CEO recruiter role at Keller Williams. And back then in 2006 and 7, you kind of know what happened. I was at the tail end. We actually moved here in 2007. We bought a home in 2006. So you just know exactly where my value went when I was building a custom home out here. And then from 2007 to 2010, I was a team leader, CEO of an office.
Wow.
And we took that failing brokerage to one of the top 10s in all of Keller Williams, and there were about 700 offices at the time. Had no clue what I was doing. And I always tell people that I started off at entrepreneurship and got recruited to corporate, when usually sometimes we leave corporate to build our own business.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, first off, congratulations. And this is awesome. My wife and I actually want to build a custom home. So that's huge that you have that opportunity to do that. Congratulations. And I can imagine Arizona has just been blowing up. We've only been here for 2 years, and we've already seen a big upside. So I can only imagine.
Yeah. I definitely love it here. I always say I got acclimated to the heat. And, it's just, I think the lifestyle for sure. There's just a lot more things that I get to enjoy here. And I always love family back home. And I love visiting the Bay.
That's awesome. Same way. It's like I come out here and I feel like we were just talking about it before we got on air, that you come out to Arizona or Scottsdale and you feel like you're on vacation. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to go back home, see the family, and then come here. That's huge. I absolutely love that. So give us, so how did you get into doing the coaching side of things? So I know now you help 6 or 7 figure earners be able to scale their businesses, grow their businesses. How did you get into that line of work?
Yeah. So when I took over that office, I had 300 agents. And just to give you context, I came in as a stranger to that office. They basically said, where are you from? You don't know our market. And they were at a hot market. And I had to teach all these agents how to survive in a recession. I had agents getting their cars repossessed in our parking lot. I had agents getting foreclosed on.
Wow.
And it was just really tough time. So you learned how to coach during those times. And I think what it taught me was, it doesn't matter what the market does. There's always opportunity. And I needed to position my agents, if they were going to make it in this business, on how to not only survive, but really, really thrive in that market. And then I went ahead and built my second team with just virtual assistants. I had no idea what virtual assistants were in 2010. After my second was born, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna take some time to go home, be a stay-at-home mom. And I'll tell you, that is a really tough job. So I give it all to the women and to the moms. I really thought for sure I will do it for 6 months, but sure enough, I didn't sit still for very long. I took my baby into these REO properties, and that year we closed, I think, 253 homes with no buyer's agents. We gave it all to the office because obviously I had 300 agents to refer business to. And we did it all with VAs because back then our commission checks, believe it or not, were like 500.
Wow.
We were selling $30,000 homes from Fannie Mae, Bank of America, so you name it. And I think you get really good at coaching. After you have so many hours of practice, you get really good at coaching and figuring out how to get results from people instead of you doing it yourself. So oftentimes we'll see like top producers go, you know what, my team is not doing it, so I'll go do the listing agent. I'll go get the listing, or I'll go create more sales. And from there, I got to be a MAPS coach for Keller Williams.
Wow.
Because we took our team and we expanded it to 23 cities. We were kind of pioneering expansion. And when the pandemic hit, I was just coming off the prop tech. So after I built that team, the expansion team, I got recruited to prop tech.
Okay.
And I became a chief revenue officer for a startup.
Wow.
And then the pandemic hit, right? And so with that, I had a lot of people reach out to me, and I didn't think that I was going to be coaching.
Okay.
So it was more of, you know what, my team and my assistants have gone home. Raquel, I know you have led real estate teams across the country. How do I lead my team? And how do I know that they're going to still service my clients? How do I know my assistant's still going to do the things? How do I get my agents to prospect during the pandemic?
Yeah.
And so and the coaching business was born.
Wow. That's amazing that it came out of something from despair and what happened with the market crashing, and good for you for stepping up and doing that to serve this industry and move forward. And so now, as you've been doing it for as long as you have you just, is it piqued your interest to go and serve other industries, or how did that come about?
I had a heart for women entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Only because growing up in this industry, I didn't have a female mentor except for Mo Anderson, where when I would look at people's schedules, it'd be like 9 to 12 prospect. And then it was like 1 and go get appointments. I'm like, what happens when the baby's sick? Or where's when I got to drop off the kids, or when I got to pick up the kids?
Life happens.
And so how do you manage a demanding business plus be an amazing mom?
Amen.
Right. And so I felt the need, and it was always on my heart. And all the times that I was climbing up, which, they always talk about this like glass ceiling. There's very few women, I think, in a C-level position in all industries, let alone technology, prop tech. And so I said, I think I've gone through this journey for a reason, and I want to go help women entrepreneurs. And so kind of got into the online space and started helping a lot of online coaches, a lot of even people that had sold products, people were in the network marketing business, because they have to build a team. I think business principles are the same. There's a lead gen model, there's a hiring growth model, there's a profitability model, but you got to know how the business makes revenue.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm very big on, is like, first things first is like, we got to scale your revenue, because with revenue, you can have options. Then we can talk about profit.
Wow. I love that. And I think that in so many lights, the women are the ones that are, just take care of the kids, it's all good. And the man's over there making the money, or the man is over there doing what they're doing, but it's not fair. And I think that on both sides, it should be equal opportunities. My wife just spent full time with her company. And so we're like, all right, like, we'd love to have our daughter Jordan here. She needs to go somewhere so we can both focus equally. And so I've been supporting her as much as you've been supporting me. And I appreciate what you're doing for that, so we can have more equal opportunities. And I know that you have an event coming up, and it's all around that exact thing, and centered around supporting women and being able to do more with that. And let's talk a little bit about your event.
Yes. We have an event called Play Bigger. It's our women's event. It is on September 9th and 10th in Scottsdale, Arizona, at the most beautiful hotel, which is called the W Hotel. And so I think it's just really cool to get a lot of different women in a room where it's about collaboration, connection, and just really inspiring each other, because it's not easy. And we weren't, like my mentor says, we weren't meant to do business or life alone.
I love that. That's super awesome. So let's go ahead and switch it up and get into the mix-up round. Normally Dan would take on this. Getting a little more tactical, right? So getting into your business and coaching and how that kind of works, and social media, and you have a podcast as well. So how do you keep it all together and do the podcast? Now you have the event plus the coaching, not to mention, I think you're doing some flips and also investing in real estate yourself. So logistically, how do you keep yourself organized and in line for anyone who's watching that might be able to take some notes from you?
Yeah, I think it's a really good question. It's a question I got asked a lot, is you have help. There is no, and when you say yes to something, you're saying no to all the other things. And I think it also comes with experience. When I was running the expansion team, I had 2 other regions. I had my own home team here in Arizona, plus being a sports mom.
Wow.
You just learn how to manage, and you learn what you can leverage really, really fast.
Yeah.
Right. And so I don't have like my house in order, but I do have people that help me. And I knew that I couldn't feel guilty about it, even though we kind of went through it as a woman. And I would say that my husband helps quite a bit. Right. Awesome. I have a very, very supportive husband. And I just knew that I wanted to take my minutes and really spend time with the kids where it really mattered, whether it was at their games, creating experiences. Like, I would much rather do that than stress about what are we going to cook tonight.
Yeah. No, most definitely. And for the viewers and listeners out there, how important is it for them, and, from your perspective, to have that balance? So not just work and making money all the time and putting in those 14, 15, 16 hours, but also having time with your children and going on vacation and having that balance. What does that look like for you? And what is, if someone who's watching could take some things to think about?
Yeah, I think that's where Play Bigger came about, because I think we can all think bigger, but when we play bigger, we take massive action, and there's action behind play. And I remember when we were kids, when we didn't worry about fears or what people would think or what people would say, and and then as you got older, you started getting even more scared to put yourself out there. And when we're playful, we're actually more creative. Right.
So true.
And sometimes we say, I'm going to work, and I'm going to have all these things, and then I'm going to have a vacation, or I'm going to retire and really enjoy life. But what if that day never comes?
So
right.
True.
Can't you have the mix of both? And so I think that it's super important to get away sometimes when you're in a bubble of just hustling and going from one transaction to another, because there's things and fires that always come up. It's always going to be there.
Yeah.
But I think when you are out and about, out of your environment, is when you actually think and do some critical thinking. I mean, have you ever been driving on a road and it's a long drive, whether it's from here to California, and you just think? Like, sometimes like you tune out the music and you're just thinking about different things that are going on in your life or your business or ideas. I think that's when you can really think creatively, is when you actually take a break from the auto schedule.
I love that. What reminds me of that is like when you manifest. So you're going through the manifestation, you're going through your vision board and goal setting, and then you have that time to just let it manifest, like let it go on vacation, go have some fun. And then before you know it, you're like, oh my God, like this is coming up and I got this email, this opportunity. And you're like, well, it's all coming together. And it's so true. It's so true. And I think that on my side, I've learned is that money is great. It gives you tools and resources to travel the world and do things in philanthropy or whatever you're really committed to. And having balance, playing bigger and doing things with your family and having fun. Or I just went to Vegas and supported my wife for a couple tea tastings. And I was just the PR person behind the scenes, but it was cool to be you could say nobody, but just her assistant and take a different perspective from like the podcast or Liftoff or, you know, an event that we have coming up here in October. So I love that.
And I'm sure you got some ideas too when you were supporting her.
Yes. You know, it's funny that you say that. I actually met a woman that knows a company that's in San Diego that might want to sponsor our event. So just serving and supporting and not expecting anything and spending time with my daughter then turned into an awesome opportunity for a potential sponsorship or referral partnership. So true. It's so true. So what does it look like as far as, okay, so you have the balance, you have the team, you're outsourcing. So do you have this massive team behind the scenes that kind of helps you with each part of your business that you're doing? Or how does that kind of look logistically? How do you even do you write down like the goals and write down the tasks and just hand them off? Or how does
I don't write down any of the task or anything.
Okay.
I think I've learned is you hire talent and they like run it for you. So I carry the vision. I always have the crazy ideas. I'll tell Jenny, who's by the way been with me for 13 years now.
Go Jenny.
She's helped me build offices. She's helped me build expansion. She's just, I'll say, hey, I've got this crazy idea. And she gets her pen and paper and she's like writing down things. And we just have a zigzag, which I think is really important for a CEO and an ops person she is the filter to basically say, here's what, and she takes care of the whole team.
Got it.
And they execute. And so I'm always looking at data. I'm always looking at different numbers going, is the minutes that we're allocating to the company, is that the best use of the minutes? Because my job as a CEO is to allocate resources to my people, and minutes get divided based on the overall vision and what we're trying to attack.
Wow, I love that. I think for the viewers and listeners out there, it's good to take note as far as do the things that you love to do, maybe delegate those things that you don't love to do to someone that loves it. And I'm in the same boat as you. I'm not a big writer, and some people like to do the list and they just have a list and they check it all off. I like to have a team that already they maybe go with the list or the standard operating procedures or KPIs, and I'm on the same page as you. I love the thinking outside the box. What could you do? What's the next big idea to serve the industry or what you're doing, serving the women's community to help them play bigger, which is huge. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I really run for those that want to get tactical, I have a GPS, and I always think, if I was going here, because I had never been here, can I imagine not having a GPS to get here? Right. But a lot of times we run through our day and our life without a GPS, and our GPS stands for goals, priorities, and strategies. So I have a Google, it's nothing fancy, just a Google sheet that basically has all my hats. So it has the hat of the business as coach, it has our events, it has our masterminds, it has the podcast, and I'm looking at different things. And then it also has my personal goals. So every week, I have big goals at the top, which is my 1 year, then it gets broken down to my monthly goals and then my weekly goals.
Wow.
And I'm always pulling from the top and trying to make them all turn green.
Wow, I love that. So that's something maybe you might have learned. Put that down below. What does goals stand for? That's huge. Well, that concludes our mix-up round. Getting back into the regular segment here. That's awesome. So I love some of the things that you said in regards to the mix-up round. Just kind of unpack it. Having your team, delegating to the team, outsourcing or delegating to the things that you're not strong with. I love the definition of goals. I never thought about that before. That's a really good way to think about it. And having balance in your life and being able to have time with your loved ones and also work and all the things that you're doing. That's super huge. So last couple questions before we kind of get into the end, where we want to just leave the floor open to you for anything for our viewers and listeners to take today and apply to their business. So let's kind of get into what's the vision? So you have the mastermind, the coaching, the event, these various different pillars, the podcast. In your mind, what's the
is there an end goal? Is there a bigger vision? Is there like a master plan here? Or are you just loving life? And
I love this because for so long there was like this grand vision, but I can tell you that it changes. It changes as you develop, as you become like, you start to get to really know like what's your purpose. And the other day I was having a conversation with somebody really smart. I'm like, what's the meaning of life? What do you think the meaning of life
deep.
is? And what is like true success, right? Because success means something totally different from everybody. And what I've realized is I used to have like 5-year goals, 3-year goals, and even with our coaching clients today. And I'm like, what's something that like you just want to tackle? Because there's going to be, and we know some of my clients, there will be opportunities when you hit that because you go so deep instead of going wide. I think oftentimes we have all these bright and shiny objects and we have like multiple hats, but we haven't had the experience yet. And I always say you can't skip steps.
True.
Right? Because the way you handle stress today, I don't think I could handle some of the big decisions that we make on a day-to-day basis, especially in my meeting with Jenny. Like I have a 1-hour meeting and I'm probably making about 100 decisions in that meeting.
wow.
Just to move different companies and move different things. I don't think I'd have that experience had I not gone through the mess, had I not gone through the failures, had I not gone through the building and rebuilding of some of these different things that we had experienced.
That's so true. And I can relate to you on that too. The stress and then the mindset of wrapping your brain around something like the event that you're doing, how big that is and how you're taking on that undertaking. And I call it stress management because I'm kind of going through the same thing. And there's questions and there's not always the answers to them. And sometimes I had a pastor reach out to me and said, go as far as you can logistically and then let God do the rest and be at peace. And I was like, oh my God, that was amazing. I needed that just to like let some stress off. So I love that. And that's a really good like thought process for anyone viewing and listening to think about. So the last question I have is kind of just off script, just for fun. Like, what do you like to do for fun with your family?
We do so many different things. I think for us, it's about experiences. So whether it's, we're always in basketball games, but making the best out of travel basketball.
Okay.
And they have, if any of you guys are parents that are in travel, anything, the schedule is absolutely nuts. Like it doesn't come out till the day before and you can be in a gym all day. There's days where my kids will play a total of 8 games and you're running from one gym to another. I mean, it's a drill. I always say sometimes my weekends are busier than my weekday put together. And I think what's really cool is just finding, like, it doesn't always have to be a vacation. It doesn't always have to be something, but creating an experience when you are going out of town or when you are doing something like we are doing this event, but it's like how, with everything being as crazy as it can be, how do we make the best of the experience? How do we have fun? So we have some things that for our volunteers, we have some things for our team. I'm really big on taking care of people. And you asked, what do we do for fun? Is like, we will golf, we will go to restaurants, and we will try different things. So like with my oldest, he is all about sushi restaurants. So every new city we go into, like they want to pick the best sushi restaurant, we'll try it. And then my little one's all about donuts. So I think it's finding what your kids love, or like whether it's movies or whatever. But I just think that too often, like, it doesn't have to be super grand.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this lavish vacations, even though we'd love to be like in the Maldives someday. And like my little one says, Mom, I'm gonna buy you a house in the Maldives. So I'm putting it out there.
That's the first part, right? Putting it out there in the universe. And your little one will love my daughter and my wife and here, our household, on Fridays, it's Donut Friday. So every Friday we go and do the Donut Friday. So that way we can have balance, not having sweets or candies or ice cream every day, but it's like once a week where you're like, oh, it's a special day. Yeah. Which that's super cool. I absolutely love that. So I'm going to go ahead and attempt to, but if you're listening to this, you're going to have to go to YouTube and watch this. I'm going to attempt to put the camera on you. And we're at the end of the show where we like just anything you want to give to our viewers and listeners that they could take from today's episode and apply to their business, because that's the goal here. We want them to apply things to their business, have more massive success watching this. So what would you like to leave our viewers and listeners as we end out our show and leave for them to apply to their business and have more massive success?
I think what has helped me and a lot of clients is there are so many things out there. There are so many bright and shiny objects out there. And I think it's important to have clarity in what you actually want and what you want to build, because I think that there is no right or wrong way to build a business. It's just whether or not it's effective for you. There is a sequence to building a really strong business. But I think that if you try to be like somebody else, or if you try to be like this other agent, what's going to happen is you're going to hate it in the long run because it doesn't align with you. I think you can build any $1 million business when it's true to you and true to your values, and you'll enjoy it a lot more. It won't even feel like work.
Wow. I love that. Raquel, thank you so much for being on our second in-person live podcast of Real Estate versus Technology. And now let's try this again as we're doing this live. And we appreciate all of our viewers and listeners, as it is our intention for you to take things from our episodes to apply to your business and have more massive success. If you have an event, so check out What's Next Real Estate, October 5th and 6th. And thanks again, Raquel.
Excited.
And we'll see you on
See ya.
the next one.
Thank you for watching Real Estate vs. Technology, this week's brand new episode, and making it to the end, your real one. If you haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified for new episodes that come out every single week on Fridays at 3:30 Pacific Standard Time. Also, if you comment on this episode and you like the episode, you'll help this episode get out to more individuals. And if you want to join our Facebook group page, just click a link. It's a Facebook icon on our profile page here on our YouTube channel. Join our group page, network with individuals all across the world, and share what technology you're using to grow your business. The next link is to join our Real Estate vs. Technology brand new IG or Instagram page. If you go on any of our stories, you can see who's going to be on Real Estate vs. Technology before it actually goes live on our YouTube channel. And the last link would be if you want to be on an episode of Real Estate vs. Technology. You pick a date and a time. We'll deep dive into your story and technology you're using to share that with other individuals that view our episodes weekly to inspire, enlighten, show up, and show out for people that love to watch these type of podcasts to have more success in their own business. Thank you so much for your continued support. We appreciate it. We will see you on the next one.